it's insane what gold has done this year in the past few months, really. All of 2024 or all of 2025 and in the past few months this year, it's just completely added onto it. This is the chart, the gold chart from 2005 to present. And I mean, this looks like a Bitcoin chart. This is like a section of a Bitcoin chart. This is like a 4-year cycle that we're looking at right now, and it's absolutely incredible. Peter Schiff, I've had him on mute, and I just went to I was like, oh yeah, I bet Peter is enjoying himself on Twitter right now, and he's taking some victory laps. And sure enough, like 4 of his top most recent 10 tweets were jabbing at Bitcoin as I expected. So anyway, I guess I'm happy for Peter.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
I love your
How
take.
much further? What's that?
I love your take that this looks like a Bitcoin chart.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, how much further do I think it could go? Man, really tough to say. I will pat myself on the back a little bit for this. Over the years, when clients have asked me, what do I think about gold? I've never been in the camp of like, write it off, don't touch it. It's a stupid yellow rock. Like I'm certainly way more bullish on Bitcoin than I am on gold, but I've always been careful to say, look, I don't think this monetary asset that is owned by central banks, that as recently as 55 years ago was money,
Yeah.
is going away anytime soon. So I have always been careful to say that. Again, I'm not claiming I forecasted gold's performance in 2025 and that I own a bunch of it. I don't, and I didn't. But yeah, I don't think it's going away. And my take from it, some gold bugs are using it to dunk on Bitcoin. I think the bigger dunk is on traditional investors that are investing in stocks in the S&P 500 and 60/40. They still own a healthy chunk of bonds and they don't own any gold.
Yeah.
The gold chart is a huge dunk on them. There's this woman who was at Goldman, still is at Goldman, and she runs kind of like the private wealth, meaning like high net worth individuals side of the asset management group. And she's like the investment strategy head for that group. And she was just like gleefully saying in a big interview, like probably a year ago, within the last 2 years, how they don't recommend their clients own any gold. And she's just like, confidently saying that. And astute listeners of the show will remember that, Brady, you and I went through the periods that gold has outperformed US stocks. And that was like a few months ago. So, gold was probably at 4,000 an ounce when we did that.
Yep.
And there's so many periods over the last 25, 30 years that gold has outperformed US stocks on its own, right? I'm not even just saying outperformed 60/40. I'm saying outperformed stocks as a whole. And you have these professional investors responsible for like trillions in assets under them saying, yeah, you shouldn't own any gold. So I think the gold rally is an indictment and a moment to dunk on them. It's not a moment to dunk on Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a really good take. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of saltiness, and Peter Schiff is the ringleader of throwing that salt all over the place. When Bitcoin was making huge runs and gold wasn't over the years, and you can see here, here's Bitcoin and gold in 2025, right? And so this is what Peter Schiff's talking about right now, and here it is since about 2011. Okay, so this is a little perspective on Bitcoin's performance against gold over the years, but all that salt that's been thrown around it's like we're sort of on the same team, right? Like we have the same fundamental thesis about fiat money. We have the same enemy in the fiat money system, and in the same moments that we point to in history that have led us to the point where we are now in terms of a monetary crisis that's developing around the world and really reaching home in the US finally and hitting here. But it was, I don't see it, and maybe I'm, have just missed it on Twitter or something, but I haven't seen a whole lot of shade being thrown on gold during this huge run. And I'm almost, I feel like it's a validation of that story, of that narrative, that principle. And we've been through it several times now where it's gone these big runs, and Bitcoin's now a $2 trillion asset roughly. And so it's validated that thesis. And having gold now, after 15 years of, this very long cup and handle, the TA experts will call it. And that's effectively what it is. If you look here, it's like a 10-year cup with like a 5-year handle, and then it's just taken off. Is validating that same thesis. And so it's cool to me to see another asset with very similar properties to Bitcoin, inferior, obviously, in very important ways, but also very similar in very important ways, validate that idea. And so it's almost like your big brother, your grandpa, or something like that, right? Your great grandfather, really like getting his flowers late in life. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I would just, I do think Bitcoin and gold are more aligned than not aligned. I know some people will point out that, hey, gold already failed, including myself. Gold already failed, right? It was removed from the monetary system and nobody could realistically do anything about it. You can't verify it. You can't send it to somebody across town, across an ocean. If you do that, it's very expensive and time consuming and risky, like all these things that people know. So I don't think any of that has changed. But the fact that gold is doing so well is supportive of the debasement trade. And the fact that it's, just to kind of reiterate what I said previously in a different way, the fact that it's outperforming stocks is just showing, it should show those people, hey, look at all these teams of investment professionals that they have to pick this stock versus this stock, and read through 10 Qs and read through earnings statements and press releases, and go interview the C-suite of these companies. Like, that's what these professional investors do, right?
Right.
And then on the whole, they're not even beating the yellow rock. So that should wake people up to the debasement trade and the fact that most of the returns, even in US equity markets, which are the best performing equity market over decades, a lot of those returns are just due to inflation or debasement. So the more people that wake up to that, the better. If people wake up to it first through gold, then so be it. And I think they will eventually understand Bitcoin.
All right, a gold related piece of healthy hopium for everyone. I think we coined a term last week with healthy hopium. I like it. This is VJ Silvam on Twitter. He writes, Bitcoin gold silver price in 2020 is the best analog for today. The highlighted zone is where we last heard cries of gold and silver outperform Bitcoin in uncertain times. Bitcoin has failed. And observe what happened after gold and silver topped in October. So for those listening, the chart is showing from about 2020 through to the end of middle of 2021. There was a top for gold and silver in the summer of 2020, and Bitcoin was kind of lagging around, going sideways. And then after gold and silver sort of started declining, going sideways, Bitcoin ripped up from about October 2020 until March of 2021. So there's a little bit of healthy hopium for all of the viewers today. Is gold, silver, and precious metals leading the way? Will we get a big Bitcoin run to mimic or mirror the gold run from the past year? Is it going to happen in 2026? Sometimes history rhymes, and you got to look at these charts every once in a while. And hey, we all keep our heads down, right? That's what we say around here, is keep your head down and just hold for the long term. And it's, if you can get past, you got to grow enough conviction, you can get to the point where you can, watch the scoreboard. It's still fun to do that. It's still fun to do that from time to time. So here we are.
There's healthy hopium and there's unhealthy hopium. Remember that, folks.
That's right. That's right. A lot of it depends on you. Where are you in your, conviction journey? You got to be pretty far along. Otherwise, this stuff can be unhealthy and, make you set your expectations to the point where if they don't, fulfill themselves, you panic and sell.
Yeah. I would just to elaborate on this chart a little bit, because it's hard to see exact. I mean, the chart makes a good point that Bitcoin didn't do too much throughout most of 2020. And then obviously we know what happened after that. But just to kind of double click on that price performance in that time period for Bitcoin. So if you look back to like the middle of 2019, so pre-COVID, none of COVID had happened in the US yet. Bitcoin was at 11, 12K in June of 2019. And then most people know you have COVID happen. Bitcoin goes from like 8 or 9K flash crash, I think we can call it, to like 4K. Even some exchanges will tell you it was like 3K or something like that, depending on when you were looking. And then we get all this COVID stimulus and markets are recovering. They're recovering. And we don't get Bitcoin above 10K until like August of 2020. And then even then, it kind of like, range bound. And it wasn't until like November, December of 2020 is when it started taking off. And then obviously 2021 was a huge year. So I think that is a good reminder, just because think about how much stimulus and QE there was in 2020 that was happening from March, April, May, June. And Bitcoin didn't really rally significantly until October, November, December of that year. So that is a good reminder.
Check out Swan at swan.com/SSL, or you can email me or John at brady@swan.com or john@swan.com. We'd love to hear from you and answer any questions you have, and we can direct you to the right place. If you're interested in getting started with Swan, you can check out the site here. It's, like I said, swan.com/SSL. We, through Swan Private and really through our amazing client services team in general, build really great relationships with our clients. It's kind of our bread and butter. We're a partner with you for the long term to build generational wealth with Bitcoin. We've built an incredible platform with some of the most rigorous security compliances, with ongoing continuous auditing. We do amazing events in person and virtual webinars with some of the biggest names in the space and all over the country in person, getting to meet our clients. We always have rave reviews and a great time at those events. We also put out research, emails that we'll send, this YouTube channel on X, etc. So we're putting out all kinds of Bitcoin content all the time. We have a IRA product that you can come here and check out this calculator and play with the assumptions and see what Bitcoin can do for you in your retirement accounts. Really easy to set up. Again, great client services team to help you with your transfers over. So if you've got an IRA or a 401k or a 403b or whatever that's kind of sitting there, you can move it over into real Bitcoin easily with Swan, and we'll help you make sure that all gets handled and done correctly. We also have a advanced cold storage solution for you to move your Bitcoin into self-custody in a way that is, you don't have to do it alone. Basically, Swan's there to help support you. It's a 2 of 3 multi-signature cold storage wallet using Blockstream Jade Plus devices. And again, we help you set it up. It's extremely easy to do on your own. It's an amazing Apple-like onboarding experience, but we are also there to help you along if you have any questions, or even just to get on a call and do it together. We'll do that. So that's Swan Vault. You can check out our different custody options here. Swan Vault is one of them. We also have a new service called Generations, which allows you to give irrevocable gifts to minors from parents, family, friends, etc. And once those gifts go into that account, it cannot be taken out even by the account administrator. And you set an ascension age between 18 and 25 when the child can take control of the Bitcoin. So this is in priority access right now, early review. So if you'd like to be one of the first people to check out Swan Generations, I think it's really kind of a first of its kind, and at least the way it's all put together, first of its kind in the industry. So would love to work with you to build some generational wealth Bitcoin. Check us out at swan.com/SSL. Email me, Brady@swan.com, or John@swan.com.